They bit off more than they could chew. That's exactly what happened here. My HOA thought they could control me like they controlled everyone else. But they didn't know what I was about to uncover, or how I would fight back once they crossed the line. Picture this. You've just bought your dream home. A quiet street, smiling neighbors, a community you think will finally give you peace. But slowly the cracks begin to show. Notes on your door, letters in your mailbox, strangers watching your every move. At first you think it's paranoia, until you discover something hidden beneath your house that changes everything. A secret your HOA will do anything to protect. They came after me, tried to break me, tried to bury the truth. But I didn't just fight back, I fought back in a way they never saw coming. And this is the full story. Homeowners associations. 3 words that can mean order and beauty or control and abuse. When most people think of an HOA, they imagine simple neighborhood rules. Don't let the grass get too tall. Keep your trash cans out of sight. Maybe make sure your shutters are painted the approved color. Annoying, sure, but manageable. What people don't talk about enough is what happens when an HOA board goes too far. Because at its core, an HOA isn't just about lawns and fences, it's about power. And when a handful of people gain power over an entire neighborhood, with the ability to fine, threaten, and even foreclose on your home, that power becomes dangerous. I wasn't the kind of person looking for a fight. I wanted a calm life, a house I could be proud of, and neighbors I could trust. I bought into my community because it looked safe, clean, and welcoming. The brochure painted a picture of harmony, children playing in the cul-de-sac, and block parties where everyone brought a dish. For the first few weeks, that's exactly how it felt. Neighbors waved, people smiled, and the HOA board introduced themselves as though they were doing me a favor. But beneath that surface, something was off. The HOA wasn't just a group of volunteers keeping things tidy. They carried themselves like gatekeepers, like overseers. Their smiles didn't quite reach their eyes. And before long, those smiles turned into warnings, and those warnings turned into threats. It started small, almost laughable. A letter claiming my lawn had too many weeds even though it was freshly mowed. A notice about my mailbox being non-compliant, even though it was the same style as half the neighborhood. I thought it was just bureaucracy. Petty but harmless. But then came the things I couldn't explain. Neighbors who used to chat suddenly avoided me. My trash bins were mysteriously knocked over every week, and late at night when the streets were empty, I'd catch glimpses of figures walking past my house, stopping just a little too long in front of my yard. At first I tried to shrug it off. Maybe it was all in my head. Maybe I was just adjusting to a new place. But deep down I knew something wasn't right, and then came the discovery. The moment that turned my annoyance into fear. Beneath my house, hidden behind old boards and dust, I found something that tied me directly into the HOA's darkest secret, something that explained their sudden obsession with me, and once I uncovered it, there was no going back. This is the story of how I went from a quiet homeowner to the enemy of my own HOA, of how they pushed me, cornered me, and tried to silence me, and how I turned the tables on them in a way they never could have imagined. The first real sign of trouble came only a month after moving in. I was still unpacking boxes when I found a bright orange slip taped to my front door. It wasn't a welcome letter, it wasn't an invitation, it was a violation notice. According to the HOA, my grass was over 3 inches tall and visibly neglected. I laughed out loud when I read it. I had literally mowed the lawn 2 days earlier. The grass wasn't just short, it was perfect. I called the number on the notice, expecting it to be a mistake. The woman who answered didn't even pretend to care. She read my address, confirmed the violation, and told me I had 7 days to correct it or face a $150 fine. When I protested, she said something I'll never forget. The board's decision is final. That phrase would come back to haunt me. After that, the letters started coming weekly. My mailbox was the wrong shade of black. My driveway had visible cracks. A potted plant on my porch was non-compliant. It was absurd. I thought maybe they were just targeting every new homeowner, some sort of hazing ritual. But when I asked a neighbor about it, she shifted uncomfortably and said, "It's best not to argue with the board." That's when I realized this wasn't just about rules. It was about control. Things escalated fast. One night I came home late from work and saw 2 men standing near my side yard. They weren't neighbors, I'd never seen them before. When my headlights hit them, they turned away and walked off quickly, disappearing into the darkness. I brushed it off, but then the next morning I found a new notice in my mailbox. Unauthorized modifications to side property. Pending review. Unauthorized modifications? I hadn't touched a thing, unless they were counting the broken gutter I'd been meaning to fix. But how would they even know about that? Unless someone had been snooping around my property at night. I started to feel paranoid. Every sound outside made me tense. Every letter in my mailbox felt like a threat. And the strangest thing was that nobody else seemed to notice. Or if they did, they weren't talking. Then came the night that changed everything.